is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds.
That Bud was the best. I got to give it to him. Bud the best, but he hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of got to give him his respect no matter what. You got to give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do.
I've been a world champion, as you know, and I've been a 3-division world champion, but I've only won one of the belts. I don't know what it is to be undisputed. I don't know that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable.
Stephen A. Smith talked to Floyd Mayweather about how he put down Terence Crawford after Crawford beat Canelo. Smith argued that Crawford had done something historic, pointing out that no fighter had ever been unbeaten in so many weight classes. He said that Crawford deserved every bit of his fame and should be praised around the world, not criticized. According to Smith, Crawford's win over Canelo was more than just another win. It was a turning point that made him one of the all-time greats. He made it clear that Mayweather's words could not take away from Crawford's great performance.
Is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this four-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds. Claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance.
Jeff Mayweather had strong feelings about Crawford's surprise for Canelo and said that the loss would forever be a part of Canelo's history. According to Canelo himself, he was the undisputed king of that class and had power over his opponents. Regardless, he lost badly to someone who was brave enough to get bigger and fight him in his own castle. Jeff saw this as more than just a small flaw. It's a stain that will go down in fighting history next to Canelo's name. He said that memorable events during a champion's prime are what people remember, and that Canelo's defining moment was his crushing loss to Crawford.
But either way, he was in discussion certainly with Chavez. What did this do to his legacy? Because I don't think he caught, the Floyd fight didn't give him, people didn't really look down on, because he was, even though he had 40 fights, he was still, fighting one of the greatest ever in an absolute master. In Bivol, he went up weight classes to win. But now he's fighting a smaller guy, a great fighter, but a smaller guy. Does this damage his legacy in any way?
I think it does. I think it does because, the one thing is this, is that, you were ruling, you were the king of that weight class. And the king of that weight class for a good while. And I think that, he had a huge following because, he became the face of boxing.
And even though it's another, future Hall of Famer, still losing a guy come up a couple weight classes, kind of makes you seem not as great as you might have been.
Stephen A. Smith was amazed by Crawford's win and told everyone how much he admired her. He made it clear that he was there at this important historical moment, which made the win more real for him. Smith says that Terence Crawford is the only boxer in history to have moved up in weight and beaten a strong champion like Canelo so easily. He said it was the highlight of Crawford's career and set him apart from the others. He also said that this night would go down in the sports long past as a memorable one. Smith saw it as more than just a fight. He thought it was a turning point in how boxing thought about greatness.
This was Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up 2 weight divisions, really 3 in my mind, because we only fought 1 fight at the junior middleweight division. So he's really moving up from 147 pounds, okay? Terence "Bud" Crawford moving up to the 168-pound limit in an effort to claim the undisputed super middleweight championship of the world from the grasp of Saul Canelo Alvarez. Now, I was there because let me tell you something right now. There's very, very few sporting events in the world that are better than a super fight in Vegas. I can tell you that right now. There's very, very few events. Props to Nick Khan of the WWE.
It was clear to Crawford's trainer that his boxer had nothing left to show after the fight. He thinks Terrence has hit a point where respect is due without question. But still, some reviewers won't give it. This anger brought to light the fact that Crawford is still fighting stories outside the ring, even though he beat one of boxing's biggest names. His manager told him that Terrence isn't even thinking about another fight right now because what he did against Canelo proved how great he is. Crawford was no longer interested in going after names. It was about leaving a memory that can't be changed.
Terrence Crawford and his well-renowned trainer, two-time trainer of the year and future Hall of Fame trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, recently did an interview in which Bomac stated that a fight is not happening. And this particular fight is a fight that everybody wanted to see Canelo Alvarez take, and Canelo Alvarez refused to take this fight with a 28-year-old two-division world champion, reigning WBC light heavyweight, former two-time WBC super middleweight, the Mexican Ecuadorian superstar boxer, who was one of my favorite fighters and a great person, David, the Mexican Ecuadorian monster Benavidez, who has 30 wins, no loss, no draw, 24 wins by way of knockout. Stands at 6'2" with a 75-inch arm reach and fights at 175. But the entire time David Benavidez was fighting at 168, Canelo Alvarez was brought up and he never accepted the fight. And so with that said, now people are trying to project this fight on Terrence Crawford. And they're saying that Terrence Crawford needs to take the fight. So Bomac yesterday did an interview and Bomac said they're not fighting David Benavidez. And so now people are pushing this notion that Terrence Crawford is ducking and Terrence Crawford is scared of David Benavidez. And if he don't fight David Benavidez, according to Boxing News 24,
Timothy Bradley was one of the bravest critics when he said that Crawford was like Floyd Mayweather. He said that Crawford's name should now be at the top of any list of the best people who have ever lived. For Bradley, it wasn't enough for Crawford to beat Canelo. The idea was to change what pound-for-pound number one means. He made it clear that while Floyd may have polished boxing in his time, Crawford had shown that he could do it even better by beating Canelo when he was at the top of his game. Bradley thought that Crawford's win put her on a level with the sport's original stars.
It might be too late now. It might be too late, because guess what? He done. Ain't nothing else he needs to do. Ain't nothing else he needs to do in boxing. Yep, y'all doubt him now? Y'all doubt him now? I saw some of y'all goofies on y'all channels. You come here and you get the real over here. That's what you get over here. You want the real? You want a real breakdown from a real fighter, a Hall of Famer? That's what you do. You come right here and you gonna get the real and you gonna get the truth. Dang it, that's what you gonna get. Leave them other lames alone and come right on over here. Yeah, and get the truth and nothing but the truth. I've been trying to tell y'all for years about this. Been trying to tell y'all for years about Terrence Crawford. Everybody put his resume down.
Roy Jones Jr. replied calmly, pointing out that both boxers were at the top of their game, unlike when Floyd Mayweather beat Canelo years ago. He also said that Floyd had an edge because he was fighting Canelo when he was young and inexperienced, which let Floyd outbox him with more skill and ring smarts. Canelo, who had been in charge of his class for years, was fully developed and experienced when Crawford fought him. Even though he was small, Crawford took him apart. Roy thinks that this alone makes Crawford's accomplishment more impressive because he beat a Canelo who was much stronger, smarter, and sharper than the one Mayweather faced.
Generational great in Canelo Alvarez, really 3 weights above his natural weight class. Does that put him in the conversation with the likes of yourself as the greatest fighter of all time?
Yes, it does, and the reason it does is because he couldn't get the credibility down in his own weight class, so he went up to go challenge himself to fight it, and he found a very formidable, good opponent.
Do you think Canelo Alvarez is on the decline or not?
No, I don't think he's on decline at all.
So you think both fighters are still at their peak even though they're 36, 37?
Yeah, I think they're both still at their peak. The age for Crawford would seem like he may be beyond it, but he hasn't had the fights, the tough fights we to put him there. And the years of boxing for Canelo would have put him in a position where they're about equal. So I think they both are pretty much in a great place. I think they're both still in their primes, and this is the best time to see them fight.
Duke McKenzie was shocked by what he saw in the ring. He thought Crawford's constant pressure, speed, and perfection left Canelo speechless. He said it was one of the most full shows he had ever seen in modern boxing and called it spectacular and extraordinary. McKenzie stressed that Crawford not only stopped being a threat, but also showed that he was almost impossible to beat, even against the strongest opponents. He said that Crawford had set such a high standard that almost no fighters will ever reach it. His voice was a mix of awe and respect.
Oh, that feeling. Do you understand? What he did last night is unbelievable. He's a 3-time undisputed world champion, and he's beaten the best of the best. Now, for me, there were red flags way before this fight. Not way before the fight. You know, in the build-up to this fight, Canelo's body language in the run-up to this fight. You know, he turned up in Vegas in his stretch limo, in his Armani suit. He's had his kids and his wife in the back of the car, and he's got out and he's strolling around like he owns the gaff. Now, that all that signified to me was a very comfortable man. He was too comfortable. And Terence Crawford just kept it real from the outset. Tracksuit, no nonsense, went there to win, said what he was going to do, told the world what he was going to do long before the fight. I think he asked for this fight many years ago. The discussion he had with Bill Haney, and I think it was him that actually suggested call out Canelo, which he laughed at the beginning, but then it came to fruition, and now it's come to fruition. I mean, what you saw in that fight yesterday, what I watched in that fight yesterday, it was for the purists. It really was, because you really have to try and understand boxing and know what you're looking at. It was the feints. It was the way that he handled the bigger man. It was the little feints, the little side steps, the little flicking with the jabs, you know, hitting him with the head and the body, the little combinations, the little 2s and 3s, and also with Crawford knowing how to close around, knowing how to win rounds.
One of the strongest arguments for Crawford's greatness came from trainer Robert Garcia, who said that he had done more in this situation than Floyd Mayweather. He said that Crawford easily beat Canelo in 9 to 10 rounds, and that Crawford was so hungry that Mayweather never tried something so dangerous. Garcia said that Floyd had never been willing to take on and beat a bigger champion in this way, which made Crawford's win special and one of a kind. He thought this was about more than just belts and numbers. What made legends different from icons was that they were willing to take risks and achieve.
Canelo has already accomplished too much, has already done too much, and he wasn't, I don't see that hunger in him anymore. I don't see those changes anymore. He fights flat-footed, throws one punch at a time. He's not fast anymore, and that's why I picked Crawford by decision.
Are you surprised at how easy it was?
Look, not that I'm surprised, because what I just told you, I think Crawford is very talented, and Crawford is hungry to become a legend. He wanted to become that three-time, three-division undisputed. He wanted to go up, he wanted to make history by going up 2 divisions to beat Canelo, one of the greatest of all time. So he was hungry for it. I think Canelo has already done so much, has made so much money, that he's not hungry anymore.
Do you think possibly that Crawford is up there with Pacquiao or Mayweather?
I think in accomplishments, he's three division undisputed, moved up 2 divisions to beat Canelo. So he's probably he's accomplished more than Mayweather for sure. Mayweather never became undisputed, but that doesn't mean he's better than Mayweather. I think in a fight at welterweight, Mayweather in his prime would beat Crawford, and Pacquiao in his prime would probably beat Crawford. But Crawford has accomplished more.
Do you think Crawford should retire after this or fight someone else?
Look, I think a rematch would be fucking good for Crawford to just beat him again and do the same thing. If Canelo doesn't have any changes, he needs to do a lot of changes. Canelo needs to do a lot of changes. I think a rematch would do triple the money that he did in this fight and then retire. But I would be so happy to hear he retires.
Brian Norman, a senior, made it clear that Terence Crawford's attack on Canelo Alvarez was much worse than anything Floyd Mayweather had done. Fans and professionals alike agreed with what he said because it got to the heart of what had happened in the ring. Canelo, who was long thought to be the best in his class, wasn't just beaten. A man who had climbed to weight classes to fight him broke him down over and over again. Crawford's effort was so good that it changed what it means to be great in boxing today. It was clear that Canelo Alvarez was the best super middleweight for a long time. He made himself into the face of boxing, fought the biggest names, and became known as one of the most marketable winners of his time. His dominance made him look like he could hardly be hurt, and opponents often couldn't handle his strong moves and controlled pressure. However, Crawford broke that image in just one night. What shocked people most about the results wasn't the event itself, but how it happened. Canelo did not lose the fight or the fight score. He wasn't as smart as they were, so they left him looking for answers that never came.
I bet against Bud on Porter. I didn't think that Bud was the best. I gotta give it to him. Bud the best, right? He hands down. He the best. He the best right now. I don't think nobody need to question him no more. I mean, you kind of gotta give him his respect no matter what. You gotta give him his respect. He just went up 2 weight classes what people said he couldn't do. He's doing everything that people say he can't do, and he is doing it with ease. Right? You gotta respect that.
Break it down for me. How did he win that fight in the way he won it tonight?
He won the fight by gaining Canelo's respect. I think he was already in Canelo's head a little bit. I think that even though Canelo knew he was smaller and everything else, these fighters are still humans and they hear what the people are saying. Crawford was undefeated. Look at what he did to the Spence. I mean, look at what he's doing to some of these people. So no matter what, I mean, you have to take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? Even no matter what he did against Matrimov or whatever else, you got to take into consideration what Bud has been known to do when it's time to do it. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think Canelo respected him, and I think that was the biggest part.
Canelo just said in the press conference that Crawford's better than Mayweather. Having shared the ring with both, what do you think?
I mean, I think that's one of the things. I think that's one of the things it's opinionated situation with the styles they fight. He beat him up. He beat Canelo up worse than Mayweather beat him up. He definitely did that. So in that case, you can ask the question: did he beat him up worse than Floyd did? Absolutely. But I mean, that would be an opinionated thing. But the styles they fight, you just never know. You know what I'm saying?
Different eras as well, right?
Different eras, different. It's a lot of things. You can't really say that.
The legendary Andre Ward explained how Crawford's win fit into the bigger picture of history. He said it would be a fight that boxing fans would remember for decades as a turning point in the sport. Ward said that events like these shape lives and set great fighters apart from legendary figures who will live on forever. The thing that impressed him the most was Crawford's discipline, which kept him smart, sharp, and in control during the whole fight without letting his feelings get in the way. This was the turning point for Ward that made Crawford one of the best boxers of all time. By beating Canelo in this way, Crawford hit a level of boxing that not many others had ever reached.
Beat Canelo Alvarez tonight. What was your thoughts on that performance from Canelo, from Terence?
Terence Crawford, great performance, man. He's been doing this throughout the course of his career. The stakes were a lot different in this fight, a lot more danger. He had to fight that kind of fight in order to beat Canelo Alvarez tonight. And he did that at 37, but getting ready to be 38 years old. And he proved, like Max said, that he is the GOAT of this generation. Hats off to Canelo for taking the fight. He didn't have to take it. Hats off to Turkey Al-Sheikh for putting it together. Just a great night for boxing.
Yeah. How special a fighter is someone like Terence Crawford? There was no signs of a size disadvantage there. How special?
You can see it in spots, but it wasn't significant. And I didn't think it was going to be significant. And people call me crazy, but I've been around Terence. He's strong. He's got a wrestling background, and people don't realize that he's been boiling himself down all these years and still being successful, not having to do that. His condition seemed impeccable, and his strength was there, the power was there enough to get respect from Canelo. So what more can I say?
What would you like to see him do next? Do you think there's another fight after this?
I'd like to see him be done. What are we boxing for at this point? What else is there to do? There's always going to be a YouTuber or a reporter or somebody conjuring up another challenge. We box to get ourselves in a better financial position, to build a name and a legacy. Those boxes are checked. What else are we doing?
That's all for the video today. Watch out. Until the next time.